Okay. You should see it live on mine. And I can share on your page first and then share on there. Yeah, I've seen that.
What the fuck?
What about it's delayed? See you get any other viewers on there? I guess it counts you as a viewer. Oh, three, I mean someone else is on there. How did you do it last time?
I'm trying to do that right now.
You gotta do it from mine, and share, write a post, and then change it from your timeline. Yeah. All right, so you get that, we'll be good to go. And then you can just monitor it on there. We'll start off. We'll mention a little bit about I'll mention the Champions League. I mean, I'm not surprised by it. I don't know about you, but
No, I know.
I'm not surprised by the final. So we'll basically just kind of do a preview. We do our show Saturday.
I mean, I'm surprised that they actually came out striking, but
Yeah. Okay. So we'll talk about last week's games. Talk about the preview, and then that'll be it. I do want to mention relegation since Chiapas, even though they won, are going. Okay.
oh, wow.
Oh, great. Joel, get your unchristian-like language off of our video, please. Go back to wherever it is you crawled out of. Oh, I know. Aren't you going for Santos now? Or no, did you say Pachuca? Yeah, Pachuca's not even in it. Yeah, God. He's going for Santos, probably. Ironically, even though he worships the devil. Okay. All right, guys. I'd like to welcome y'all to a special edition of Texas Soccer Live. We promised you to bring you a special about the Liga MX playoffs. That's exactly what we're bringing to you. So we're going to do a breakdown today of the last week of games, kind of how the drama unfolded. We're going to look at a detailed look at all four matchups from 1 down to the 8th seed. There's a lot of interesting matchups, including 2 Clásicos that are going to be fun to watch. And then we'll lastly talk about the regulation battle, which was also very interesting to watch. Came down to the wire, literally 1 goal is what saved the team from not going down to second division. Before we do that, though, we want to start off mention. Obviously, today was the closing of the Champions League semifinals. And no surprise here, on our opinion, we called it last time. I think both of us predicted that Real Madrid and Juventus would be our finalists, and they'll be playing on June 3rd. Real Madrid closed it out today. I will say Atletico Madrid gave a little bit of a scare today. They came out very quickly, scored 2 goals, and it was almost like we were going to see another Barcelona PSG. But in my personal opinion, no big surprise. My only surprise is there wasn't as much fight as I thought. I knew Real Madrid would go pretty easily into the final. But I thought Monaco would give a little bit more fight to Juventus, and they pretty much cruised through. I mean, what were your kind of takeaways on that?
Well, I mean, the way that Monaco played against Dortmund, I mean, I figured that it would have been a little bit more of a fight, but Juventus went in there very calmly and just, I wouldn't say they rolled over them bad, but it was just like a walk in the park for Juventus. There really wasn't much of a fight. Mm-hmm. I give props to Juventus for their defense. Their defense is great. I feel like Real Madrid's going to have a tough time with that defense. It's not going to be a walk in the park for Real Madrid for this final. But
well, what do you think? Do you think Real Madrid's going to go add to their record and get a 12th Champions League title?
The way that it looks right now, I mean, Ronaldo is on fire. I mean, despite bad calls and stuff like that, he's on fire right now. Even though he didn't score this game, Isco scored the goal. But I feel like he's on fire. He might add to it, but it's not going to be as easy as they think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a tough matchup. I think it's defense versus offense when it comes down to it. I mean, 2 different style teams. I mean, I'm going to go with, I guess if you can really call it underdog at this point. No one's really an underdog. But I'll probably go with Juventus just because, I mean, they have been cruising. And once again, Monaco only scored 1 goal.
Yeah.
And prior to this matchup, only 1 other goal scored. So through the entire Champions League finals leading through this whole process, playoffs, there have only been a total of 2 goals scored on Juventus. So, yes, you got an offense in Real Madrid, but they're going to have to bring it. Nobody's been able to crack Juventus this year, both in the Italian League and as well as the Champions League. All right, enough of that. We're going to come back to that. Hopefully we'll see what works out. We have some difficulties, but we're going to try and bring you a full episode 4 of Tech Soccer Live on Saturday, where we'll talk Dynamo, we'll talk international friendlies, we'll get more in depth into our predictions for this final, and a lot of other soccer stuff going on. But our focus right now, as we said, is on Liga MX, and I guess I want to start off kind of getting your general impressions on the final week of games, because it was a very dramatic, week if you look at how it broke down. I mean, obviously, there's ones that jump off the screen to you, but kind of what were your takeaways as kind of the drama unfolded at the end?
The games that stood out to me the most were, obviously I was looking forward to the Theaters game, because that was the only way for them to find a spot in the final 8. But the one game that I did find interesting was Monterrey versus Monarcas and America versus Pachuca. Especially America and Pachuca, because both of them were fighting to find that 8th spot.
Yeah.
And it came down to Pachuca winning, but it rolled over onto Monterrey and Monarcas, and since Monarcas scored, it eliminated both America and Pachuca, and Monarcas found that 8th spot.
Yeah, in a weird way, if you're a Club America fan or Pachuca fan, who you're most mad at is Monterrey for allowing Monarcas to score 1 more goal. Yeah. Had it been 1-1 tie, had they beat us 1-0, beat Rayados 1-0, wouldn't have gotten in, because they scored the 2 goals and the goal differential is the tiebreaker. Monarcas, which by the way was one of the 4 teams we were talking about was supposed to be relegated.
Yeah.
One of the 4 teams was supposed to be at the bottom of Liga MX in the first division. Now all of a sudden they're in a playoff matchup against first place Tijuana, and perennial favorite Club America. And I know Joel's watching. Your buddies over Pachuca blew it and couldn't get the job done. He needed 1 more goal to do it. So we're not going to sugarcoat it. Neither one of us are sad to see Club America go away. As I said before, those of you that aren't familiar with Liga MX, this is like the Golden State Warriors, the New York Yankees. Yeah, you love to hate them because they are good. But hey, they weren't good enough to make the cut this year. So sorry, see you in the winter. I'm going to go back to you. It's weird for me. As a rival team, I got to give credit to Tigres, and it's what scares me as a Rayados fan going to this first matchup. Yes, they didn't go against a tough opponent, but rattling off 5 goals. Talk about the momentum they've been riding these last weeks. The only loss was to Rayados. That was only 1-0, but have been killing people since. And Gignac coming back with a hat trick just to finish the season. It's scary because Tigres are hitting form. Yes, they're going in as only the 7th seed, but as we saw how close these teams are, ladies and gentlemen, don't pay attention, in my opinion, to seeding. I don't care if you're number 1 down to 8. We were so close in the final standings.
We've seen the number 1 team go first,
and that was Tijuana in last year's league final. Tijuana was number 1. Here they are again, and I would not be surprised if Monarcas all of a sudden, a team that was about to be relegated, knocks off Tijuana in the first round. I'm not saying they're going to, but I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. Although I do give props to Monarcas, they were very, very close to being relegated. The way that they played against Monterrey, they deserve to stay in first division. Sadly Chiapas is going down, and they had good quality players, but they had a lot to work on, and hopefully they can do that in the second division. But hats off to Monarcas for doing that. It's not going to be easy going against Tijuana in the playoffs, but let's see how it goes.
I will give props. It's unfortunate for Chiapas. They ended the season with a victory. There was a must-win for them against a tough team, a playoff team already locked in Atlas, and winning 1-0. These guys go from being on top of the world, we've survived, to literally having the nightmare situation happen with Monarcas. And here you are, Chiapas. Goodbye. You're out. You're relegated, and we'll see who's taking their spot. But that really was a tough way to go down. 2 other games that stood out to me were a couple of ties. The Chivas Necaxa game and the Santos Toluca game. The Chivas won because Chivas, in my personal opinion, we'll talk about this in their upcoming matchup against Atlas, has looked very weak to me in how they've closed out the season. Yeah. And this was not a team that was supposed to challenge them. It's not a playoff team. And they just could not get, their offense has seemed to stall. Their defense has held, their offense has stalled. And then with the Santos game, that game was just nuts. With the cards and guys, and they have red cards, which will now impact the playoffs.
Yep.
And it was a playoff preview because Santos and Toluca are going to be playing each other. So, you got any thoughts on kind of those ties? Like I said, I'm concerned. If you're a Chivas fan, which I know there's a lot of you out there, I'm not that confident if I'm a Chivas fan going into these playoffs.
Well, to speak on the Chivas and Atlas, Chivas sort of had a downfall. They were doing good at the beginning of the season, but towards the end of the season, the last couple weeks, they weren't getting the wins and they weren't playing the same way anymore. They had a downfall. Mm-hmm. Yes, they won the Copa MX, but they had a downfall and they weren't playing the same. So if I were them, I wouldn't be so confident. And plus, we haven't seen Atlas in the playoffs in a while. So for them to be up there the way that they've played, they did beat Tigres in their own home. So I think Atlas is a very dangerous team. And to roll over onto Santos and Toluca, I think it was very stupid of them to play the way that they did. I mean, now they're stuck playing each other again for 2 more games. There was a total of 3 red cards, and each one of them, I think it's 2 players for Santos and 1 for Toluca. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they both lost both games until they advanced. That's if they advanced, but I mean, the chances are that one of those teams is going to fall out just because of those red cards. Those red cards are going to affect them very bad. Yeah,
worst timing possible when it comes to cards. And then the last kind of match I want to mention that stuck out to me, and it's been just, I don't know what is going on, is that, Pumas as a team have just, this is bad. I mean, talking about a bad season, I'm looking at, if we really look at the final standings, Pumas was second to last. Only Puebla was worse than them. And Pumas, which used to be a perennial, I feel like they've always been competitive. I don't know what has happened over there under their leadership. I don't know if it's the coaching over there. I think they did lose. I think they've lost some key players, talent-wise. But they are, as a team that has a good brand and a team that has a good following, I think, they have not looked good this last 2 seasons, this entire year. Not just this season, but in the first half and in the winter, they did not look good either. Okay, well let's get into the actual matchups, and we're just gonna take it down the line in order. Okay, we're gonna go with what's up on the schedule. So we're gonna start with the big boys first, and the reason I say the big boys, not just because there are teams. You can look at all the experts, and we were reading up, before this show, ESPN Soccer, Fox Soccer, I don't care who you look at, almost unanimously, and we're on the same boat, both because we believe it and because we're fans of these teams. We see one of these 2 teams is going to be the champion this year. Is it going to be a repeat, and is Tigres going to complete back-to-back titles here, or is their crosstown rival going to screw it up? It's going to be interesting, and we figured this out right off the bat. So looking at it, they are the first schedule coming up. So tonight, literally in 2 hours from now, we'll have Tigres and Monterrey playing the first leg of 2. And, when you look at it, yes, Monterrey is entering, in my opinion, number 2. They had some interesting losses at the end of the season, or ties, things they let down. Myself, as a Rayado fan, I'm not too concerned. I feel like there's no doubt that this team has the roster to get it done. And if you talk to anyone, I think anyone would agree, including Tigres fans, that if anyone's going to derail them at this point and their hot streak, the people that have the weapons capable, it's your guys over on Monterrey. It's Pabon, it's Cardona, it's some of these guys who are notorious. And like I said, both sides are going to be amped up for these games. And so I firmly believe that whoever wins this, because it's going to be such a build-up, both games, whoever wins these 2 legs is going to be riding such a high. I feel like they're going to steamroll whoever they run into next. I don't care who it is. So we're not going to sugarcoat it. We all know who's picking who here. But I'm curious as to kind of how you think it's going to play out. If you think it's going to be close, if you think, kind of just what your overall impressions are, and kind of what do you think as someone who maybe is not a fan of either team, what is it they should be kind of looking for when they watch these games?
Well, I mean, obviously, I always go with Tigres no matter what, but Rayados does have some key players that you do have to pay attention to throughout this game. I mean, especially their defense. The Clásico during the regular season, the person who scored the goal was somebody from the defense. So it's like you have to pay attention to those. There's key players, they're hidden and they don't always show up. But one person I will pick out during the offense is Pavon. He has a cannon for a leg. I feel like the defense should be careful because it could bounce off one of the defense players and go into the goal because he has a very, very powerful shot. So I feel like they need to be careful with that. Monterrey is not Querétaro, so it will not be a 5-1 game. That's not going to happen, especially for a Clásico. If that were to happen, then the communication has to be very, very bad. Something has to go wrong for that to happen.
Well, I feel like the grinding out style game would favor Monterrey versus the shootouts obviously going to favor Tigres. It's weird I say that because I know that Rayados has the weapons, but it hasn't been their style all season. There's been I think only a handful of games that we've racked up. Yes, we've had our go-to guys for scoring, but with the momentum of some of the shots that Tigres have been taking, as a Rayados fan, I do not want to see a shootout. I want to see it low. I want to come down I want to win 2-1, 1-0. I want to keep the score low. Versus probably, most Tigres fans out there, with as hot as they've been lately, probably want to see the scoring. Because I don't know. It'd be interesting. I don't know what you think. I mean, some people would say that we are going to see a shootout. I don't think so. I think it's going to be more of a grind fest.
Some advice that if I could give the players, it would be like they have to play smart because they have to think about it. Because if they get red cards, they lose the game on Saturday because they go in Saturday playing again. So I mean, I feel like this is going to be a very smart and tactical game. Yeah. First game, definitely. I mean, they're going to go out and score, but I mean, one of these teams is going to try and win because they do not want to go into Saturday desperate.
No,
because if they go in Saturday desperate, it's going to cause problems for them.
Well, also you're not going to. I think you're also, if we get a 2-1 result or a 1-0 result either way, you're not going to see the loser panic. I think if either team is within one goal with each other, they're not going to go, oh my God, and have to change everything. They're going to shift gears, look to Saturday. I think that's what we're going to see. I think what they want to avoid, either team, worst case scenario, you don't want to go down multiple goals in Saturday. And that goes for any team.
But one thing that we have to focus on during this playoffs is that away goals count more.
Yes.
Away goals count more. So what I feel like Tigres is going to go out and do is they have to stop Monterrey from scoring. They want to keep it 0. I mean, if they score 1 goal, it's not that bad. But they want to limit themselves to no goals because they are the second seed, and if you allow a goal away, that means Tigres has to go and score 2, if not more.
Now, this first game, I believe, it's at the Tigres.
Yes, the first game is in
the lower seed.
Yeah, so the first 4 always have home field advantage. The second game.
So for you Rayados fans out there, you want to see scoring tonight in particular because that's going to count twice. Going back to our stadium. So yeah, it's interesting. Just keep that in mind as you watch tonight, or watch any of the games for that matter. That the away team, in this case, the higher seed to start, they're going to be looking to get goals to get on the board. Okay, well obviously let's get to some other ones. I know that we know who we have on that. My personal take is this before we close that out. I'm going with Rayados all the way. I think it's going to be tough. I respect Tigres this year immensely because they've hit a hot streak. I think that their players internationally, both, but also your nationals on the team have been very good, and they're hitting a stride at the right time. I stress that in all sports, is that hitting your stride at the right time is key, and I think it is very scary. I think it's going to be fun to watch. I think that what we saw earlier in the season at Clásico is nothing. I think this is going to be, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to pick one series to follow of 2 games, it has to be this, because quite frankly, this really is, I feel like this is the championship. This is the championship. Now, I'm not saying obviously they got to earn it after that, but these are the 2 best teams in our opinion. I know that sounds hypocritical of us saying that, but I think it's just a fact. And you look at any of the experts, many of the experts agree with us, with the exception of a few other teams, which I'll get into next. And that's our next game for tonight, which is our rematch of Santos and Toluca. being the number 4 and 5 seeds. They are right at each other. They obviously had a heated battle coming off. They played the late game at 9:30 this evening, and we'll play again on Saturday after Monterrey Tigres. Personally, I'm going to go with Santos on this one, just because, I think Santos has the experience. They've been up there before. They've had deep playoff runs lately. It's hard because, like you said, it's really going to come down to, can you weather the storm first round? And I think if Santos can weather the storm and come out, they're going to be a dangerous team. It can really throw a wrench at some people if they can survive this round and when they get their players back. What do you think?
Well, after watching that first game of like the last regular game of the season, I do give this to Santos. They were one player short, and they managed to come back and tie the game 2-2. So I give them that. But then again, this is Toluca's 100th year anniversary, so they're not going to want to go down like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're going to go out there and going to try and win. Their main goal is to get the trophy, especially on their 100th year anniversary, and say like, leave it in history. Like on our 100th year anniversary, we became champions, but Santos isn't going to let that slide. Mm-hmm. Santos is going to fight. Although I'm going to pick Toluca on this one, just because they have more of a reason to fight right now. I'm not saying Santos doesn't, but the history has to do with it, and they're not gonna let this go. And on top of that, they only have one suspended player. Santos has 2.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got now. We're split down the line right now. We got Rayados, Tigres. We got Toluca, Santos. Yeah, I think it's gonna be an interesting matchup, and I think that they're the ones that I'm just going forward. The other matchup I'm interested in, and mainly because I want to see does history repeat itself, and that is our Thursday matches. Our next one up is number 1 Tijuana versus Monarcas, which as of a couple days ago didn't know that they were going to be in the playoffs. Yeah. This is tough because conventional wisdom in any sport says you go with the number 1 seed. You especially don't go with the number 8 seed that never expected to even be in the playoffs. I don't know. And the reason I do that is like, I know you shouldn't linger on the past too long, but it's hard for me to forget Tijuana blowing it and blowing the number 1 seed before. Yeah. So with that being the case, I'm going to go with a shocker here. And I'm going to say that you're going to see a miracle happen, and you're going to see Monarcas knock off the number 1 team again. I don't think Monarcas will go past that, but I think they are riding such a high right now. Like I said, I could be wrong. Tijuana will come out tomorrow and beat them 5-0. I don't know. But my gut is telling me, prove it to me, Tijuana. Yeah. If you're a Tijuana fan, prove it to me. Because I haven't seen y'all do it yet. You can't handle clutch situations. You've been getting all these ties and losing all these bigger games towards the end of the season. You beat up on the weaker guys, but what are you going to do when it's clutch time? So prove it to me, and I'll eat my words, and I'll take it back on Saturday. We're doing this. If you beat the crap out of them on Thursday, fine. But I'm going to go with Monarcas as the underdog. Then I think that just off of sheer willpower and momentum that they're going to stick it to Tijuana because they haven't proved it.
There's a saying in Mexican soccer, and it's been around for a while and I will say that this is true because Tigres have been through it. There's this bad luck thing that if you're in first place, you're not going to advance. I've seen it happen before. It's not the first time. It happened to them last year, so I'm gonna pick Monarcas on this one. I'm not saying that they'll win the whole thing. No, but they're gonna beat Tijuana because Tijuana, they choke, and I feel like they're gonna do it again. So I'm gonna pick Monarcas on this one. They're doing very good. I mean, they like to score last minute. I'm going to see how this goes. And they snuck their way into the 8th spot. It was well-deserved, so I give them that. So I'm going to pick Monarcas on this one.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that shows you how ridiculous Liga MX can be, where the one pick we agree on is the number 8 seed that was about to be relegated. I mean, that just shows you how ridiculous and unpredictable it is. And by the way, when we're putting our picks in, please comment on the video and put your picks in. We got 4 big battles coming up. You've heard our first 3, and just to recap before we get into our last one here, I'm going with Rayados, Santos, And then with Monarcas, Raul's also going with Monarcas, but he's going with Toluca, and of course it's Tigres. So our last matchup, and I find this one very intriguing because you have two teams that talk about trying to find your stride in Atlas and Chivas, and they're going to close out our fourth match here. So I mentioned before, I think Chivas has been faltering. Atlas was hot for a while. I mean, just red hot, doing very much like what Tigres was doing and surging, surging ahead. It's hard to bet against them here, but at the same time, they're going up against a tough Chivas squad, and Atlas has kind of faltered at the end here. So for me, I'm kind of torn on the fence. I think Chivas is going to survive the first round, but I think it is going to be a tough first round. I think this is the toughest, going to be one of the toughest battles for them. I think if they can get out of this and they end up facing someone else like a Santos or a Monarca, someone from the other, they can maybe make something happen. But personally, like I said, I'm not confident in this pick, but my gut's telling me that although Atlas is hot, maybe it was just a fluke and they kind of cooled off at the end. I'm going to have to go with Chivas on this.
For this game, I feel like Chivas, I don't have that much confidence in them. Mm-hmm. Right now, they went downhill from the beginning of the season till now. I don't agree with picking Chivas. I'm gonna pick Atlas on this one. Mm-hmm. They're a very dangerous team. I've seen the way they played. Yeah. I would really like for Atlas to fall just because I know that they're a dangerous team and they have the power to advance. And I mean, we played Chivas, and when we played them, it was basically a walk in the park.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I would much rather, if I'm picking my team and who you want to play, Atlas or Chivas, I'd actually kind of would want to play Chivas. But it's interesting because I think what's going to come down to is I think you have we're talking about the Champions League, I think we have another offensive-defensive battle here. Yeah. Chivas has not found their offense lately, but they have had their defense. They've been low-scoring games. Atlas is the opposite. They're run and gun. They're moving fast, kind of like almost like an Atletico, type team that's coming at you nonstop, and it's going to be a very high octane offense versus a slow defense. If the game gets out of hand and we're seeing a score fest, yes, that's going to favor Atlas in this situation. The Chivas, if they can grind it and slow it down, kind of what Monterrey's want to do in some regards to slow down Tigres, they can make it there. But yeah, I'm not. If you're a Chivas fan, yes, they're the third string, but it's just not. You can't feel really good going into it. It's just hard for me to bet against it because there is a lot of talent. And the coaching staff there, the manager there, has actually done quite a bit to turn it around. A situation where they were not good for a while and faced a lot of issues. I think that's going to be interesting. So we got any picks? I see some Chivas. Shout, of course, Oscar. I saw him on there.
Joel says Santos. Disagree on that one.
With you on the first round, that's it.
For the first round, you'll pass maybe, but then when it comes to the second round, depending on who you have to play, I don't think you'll get past it. But the good thing about this is that normally when you play, the points matter. From the regular season, the points matter. They play a factor to a certain point. So I feel like since it's only like a 1 or 2 point difference, because Tigres was only 2 points away.
Yeah.
So it's gonna play a big factor in it, and I mean, like I said, we're basically opposites until it comes down to the underdog.
Yeah, we go. Yeah. So if you look at our matchups, our picks. You see how split and how crazy Liga MX is. Our picks are literally split. The only thing we agree on is on paper the worst teams that we agree on. Yeah. On paper, we agree on the 8th seed. In Monarcas, and I don't think they're the worst team going in, even though the 8th seed. And so we agreed on Monarcas. We obviously are going to agree on our rivals, Tigres Rayados. I got Santos, he's got Toluca, and then I took Chivas, he took Atlas. I know it's very obvious with us. I'm interested if anyone wants to put anything else comment on there. Yeah, I think both of us said the winner of our series between the Rayados and Tigres is going to be our pick to go all the way. I do think it could be an interesting challenge because if you look at how the seeding works, you're going to have, I believe, if I remember correctly, I do think that the 2-7 plays the 4-5. I believe,
Yeah.
And so the winner of Monterrey and Tigres will play Toluca Santos winner, and the winner of Chivas Alas will play Tijuana Monarcas. I actually like that because as a Rayados fan, if we can survive Tigres, I'd much rather go up against Toluca or Santos than to face someone like Alas. I think it's going to be dangerous in the second round. I think Alas is actually, or whoever comes out of that matchup between Chivas and Atlas, I think that they'll beat the winner of Monarcas Tijuana.
Yeah.
And so I think they can find their way into the finals very quickly from that side of the bracket. I do think that the winner. I think if you're looking at who's going to be the championship, I think at the end of the day, the winner of Monterrey and Tigres and the winner of Chivas Atlas will play each other. And that personal pick for me is going to be Monterrey versus Chivas. Monterrey wins the title. What's your take? What's your take? I know you don't agree with that.
I don't agree with it. I mean, Monterrey is due to win a title now. It's been a while since they won. I do admit that last year was not the best season that they've played. And coming into this season, brand new season, they actually did a lot better. I don't agree that Chivas would make it.
Right.
And the way that I seen Monterrey and Chivas play once, and being a Monterrey fan, watching that game, it didn't end the way you wanted it to. Because that was to advance to the final. So I feel like Monterrey should be careful with that. But I would say if it comes down to it and Tigres passes, I would say it's going to be Tigres versus Atlas. And I would love to see that game. But then again, Atlas is a very, very powerful team. And I mean, I'm not going to go into that.
Your pre-playoff pick is obviously Tigres to win. You think they're going to play Atlas in that final to win. Okay. So once again, two different picks. We'll start seeing how this shakes out in the next round. Let's get to a few of the others and see what other. We got some other picks. People I see shouting out probably some dumb stuff, but let's see.
What I do want to get to is that Monarcas is an underdog, and no matter all these teams right now that are the top 8 are very, very grateful not to have America in, and they're grateful not to have Pachuca in. Why? Pachuca is a very, very, very dangerous team.
One more goal, they would have been in.
Yeah, one more goal. But the thing is that I think it was week 15. They're so powerful that their goalie scored a goal and won them the game last minute. Yeah. So I give them that. They beat us. They beat us in the final, and I mean I'm not happy about it, but it was well deserved because I mean they went out and they're a very young team, so they know what they were doing. And it's surprising not to see either of those two teams because every year you always see Pachuca and America in. But I think if you're the top 8 teams, you're very, very happy not to see those teams in right now.
Yeah. Now that Pachuca's out, Joel has to hop on Santos because that's all he can do. We got any other picks? I know I saw Oscar there with his obvious Chivas pick. We got any other people doing any other picks, or we got dumb comments? What we got?
Very dumb comments. I mean,
not
somebody commented America, but I mean America's out of the picture.
That's great a line. Have fun with America. You'll be sitting on the couch with you.
Necaxa, I'm pretty surprised they didn't make it this year because they made it last year and they had a very, very big fall. But I feel like they're going to stay in first division for a long time.
I think they're going to stay in first division, but I think they had a touch of reality this year. I think it was a kind of a fantasy run for them last year. They're they got the new hot team and made a run for it. We all know. Shout out to Michael Romero. I know you're a big Necaxa fan, I think they got brought back to reality. Interesting, if you know. I know this sounds kind of crazy, but if you're curious, who's going to replace Chiapas in first division this year? If you look at it, it's going to be a playoff game between the last two champions, and the current champion are the Lobos.
Yep.
And my buddies, Dorados, they can come back. So we are going to have a playoff. And it sounds sad. That's why I feel so bad for Chiapas, because I joke about Dorados being my second team, because they have gone up and down so much. But we have Dorados and the Lobos playing each other to basically for the privilege of being last place in first division. Because I don't have any doubt that when they get to first division, these guys are going to get their butts kicked around.
Yeah. The second division is just... It's not. Nobody really keeps up with it, but when it comes down to it, it's pretty.
You care about the champion. You care about the champion because the champions are the ones who have a chance to come up. If you win both seasons in a year, you automatically you're going to be the one. But because they had two different winners, what I was reading was they play each other in a playoff to see who moves up.
Yeah.
And so,
what I feel like is happening is Dorados has the talent to be in first division because they go to second division and it's a walk in the park.
People, yeah.
But when it comes to first division, they come and they can't do anything. So what I feel like Dorados needs to do is, okay, we're good enough to make it into the first division. What we need to do is invest our money into some good quality players that are going to be able to keep us up there.
Well, yeah, it's just the money. They need the money. And I think it's one thing I'll admit, I think you'll admit too, one of the reasons my team is good is because we've had money.
Yeah.
And Tigres has not exactly had a lack of money, recently either. So it's like any sport, right? Money's going to get you bigger contracts, get you guys from out of the country. It's going to bring talent. Okay, that's it. Let's see if we got any other things on here. Let's see, Chivas.
What I will point out is if Monterrey does advance, and I hope they don't, and Santos advances, that means Monterrey has to play Santos' goalie, which is Rayados' former goalie. So I want to see how that works out.
Yeah.
But
you don't want to see how it works out because if you see it, that means your team's on the sidelines.
But I'm sticking with Tigres. It's not gonna be a walk in the park today. If anything, it'll end with a tie or somebody's going to win from a 1-goal difference. But Saturday is going to be what's going to determine everything.
So just to summarize, it's going to be a crazy couple days. We got our first 2 games, 2 games tonight, 2 games tomorrow, and then the next 2 games Saturday and Sunday. They switch venues, and we'll very quickly cut this field of 8 down to 4. We'll be mentioning, like I said, we're going to do our best to come to you for a episode 4, a full at least hour minimum episode on Saturday afternoon. We will be breaking down these games and seeing kind of who emerged as the early leaders going into Saturday night and Sunday's games. We'll be talking about the Red Hot Dynamo, who have been killing it home. I'm telling you, people, if you haven't gone to a freaking Dynamo game, go, because they are at home. They're unstoppable. And it was kind of sad a couple weeks ago. They played the day game at BVA Compass, and there was like nobody there. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Come on. They just knocked off Orlando FC, who's been killing, number 1 team least, and they knocked them off. We'll be talking about our Champions League. We're hoping that Raul Bermudez can join us, and we'll have all 3 of us in our kind of takes on that. All of the European leagues are coming to a close. And we're shifting gears to international time, summertime coming up. So we'll be talking about all the international friendlies. We'll be talking about Gold Cup. And we'll talk about...
Yeah, the countdown started for that already, so keep updated with that. There's always news coming up. Just be ready for it. There's no Mexican soccer until like after summer, so but we'll keep you updated with like any switches, any incoming players, any players going out, stuff like that. So
really good with summer. It's international friendly time and it's MLS time. That's what you're going to be seeing over the summer. As all the leagues are on breaks and off season. Hey, just a couple things. Please like this video. Come like the page, Texas Soccer Live. On the comments here, this will be posted to the Texas Soccer Live page as well as our personal pages. Go ahead and put your picks up there. You've heard our picks. You know our picks for the champion. You know our picks for the first round. Share our picks with us. Let's have a little debate and see what we got. So put them out there now. We're not going to take you legit unless you put your picks in before the first game tonight. All right, so you have exactly 2 hours. Get your picks in, and we want to get you locked in. And let's see. Maybe we'll come up with a prize or something. We'll talk about it on Saturday. If we get someone who can predict all 4 accurate, we'll come up with some sort of prize. So all 4 matchups, you got to accurately predict all 4 winners, and we'll come up with some sort of Texas Soccer Live prize for it. Any final thoughts for you?
Just to keep you guys updated. The games, the first game, Tigres Monterrey, starts at 7:30 if you guys want to tune into that game. And I believe Toluca and Santos is at 9:30.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to tune into that. And then tomorrow would be the other 2 games.
Same times.
Which are the same times, and then they play Saturday and Sunday. So if you guys want to tune into that, watch it. Support whoever you want to support and make your picks early. So maybe we'll have something for you guys, but you have to get all of them correct.
Yes. All 4,
not just 1 or 2, all 4, and we'll come up with something for you guys. But leave your picks down. And
you have until that ball is kicked at the 7:30 game to get those picks in. Do it on the video or put it on our Texas Soccer Live page. Yeah. Put it in a comment. Okay. So we'll hopefully come to you Saturday. We're looking at around 1 p.m. We'll work it out if things change. But we will be bringing you a full episode 4 of Texas Soccer Live pretty soon, and hopefully we'll have the whole crew here and do a lot of breakdowns. We appreciate you tuning in, and so go Rayados.